Welcome to A Quiet Catechism. This is a Catholic podcast for slowing down and listening carefully. Each week we take up one small word or idea and we just sit with it. We look at how it has shaped the church, the human person, and the world, through philosophy, history, prayer, and ordinary lived faith. Not to argue, not to rush, just to understand what is worth keeping. I'm Doug Tooke. I'm a writer, educator, and a lifelong student of the Catholic tradition, which has a remarkable way of holding together reason and mystery, clarity and mercy, thought and love. Today's word is vocation. This is episode 10 of our Human Foundation series, and it's a word we hear a lot. I'm not sure we really understand what it means, so let's take our time with it. Let's begin. Vocation is one of those words that arrives wearing sensible shoes and carrying a clipboard. It sounds like paperwork. It sounds like the guidance counselor's office. It sounds like a job fair where the booths are staffed by earnest saints offering brochures titled, "Have you considered being holy, possibly forever?" But vocation in the Catholic tradition is not a job word. It's not a code word for priesthood. It's not a church synonym for do something impressive with your life. Vocation is a human word. It names the startling possibility that you are not the author of yourself in the way that you sometimes pretend to be at 2 o'clock in the morning, scrolling, comparing, despairing, trying on new identities like hats. Vocation suggests that you are first someone who has been addressed, spoken to, summoned, named. Before you built your brand, before you curated your opinions, before you learned the survival skill of smiling while you feel like a bowl of loose screws, the word itself is basically a little ear, vox, voice. A call is not a concept. A call is sound. It travels through real air and lands on the delicate ridiculousness of your body, this astonishing meat harp, and it asks for a response. A call implies a caller. Even if you do not start by naming him, it implies a hearer, a self capable of receiving meaning, not just producing noise. It implies that the answer is rarely a lightning bolt and more often a long obedience in the same direction. In a life where socks vanish, the dishwasher breaks, and you have to apologize for saying something sharp to someone you love. Vocation implies gift and task together, like two hands. One hand places something in you, something real, something with a capacity for love, some stubborn endurance, some odd little talent, some tenderness you don't really understand. The other hand points outward and says, now give it away. Let it become something living. Let it become bread. So yeah, vocation means your life is not random. You are not an accident. You are not cosmic lint that gained consciousness and then got a mortgage. And it also means you're not sovereign. You're not king of everything, even though your ego will petition for the crown every morning, preferably before coffee. That's the drama of vocation. It flatters and humbles at the same time. It tells you you matter more than you can measure, and it tells you you're not the center of the universe, which is, if we're really honest, a relief. Because living at the center is exhausting. It requires constant performance, constant monitoring, constant self-invitation, and the modern world, bless its clever little heart, is very good at turning vocation into exactly that. You've seen the distortions. You've probably worn them like a bad-fitting suit. One distortion is vocation as career optimization. Find your passion, monetize it, self-actualize forever. If you don't love every minute, the algorithm will show you someone who does. And if you're not fulfilled by Tuesday afternoon, you might have chosen wrong. Please return to the store for a new destiny, lightly used. It's not real. Another distortion is vocation as status in the church. The holy people are the priests and the religious, and everyone else is in the waiting room. Marriage becomes plan B. Singleness becomes a problem to solve. Ordinary work becomes the thing you do so you can finally get to the real spiritual stuff. And then there's vocation as scrupulosity. There's one perfect path, narrow as a razor, and if you miss it, God's disappointed, and the rest of your life is theological limping. Prayer turns into anxious weather checking. Lord, is it cloudy because I chose wrong? And then there's this quieter distortion. Vocation as spiritual cover for fear. I'm discerning, you say, when what you mean is, I'm afraid to choose. I'm afraid to risk. I'm afraid to commit. Because commitment means you can fail, and you can hurt someone, and you can be ordinary in public. Finally, vocation can be weaponized. It's like external control. Family, culture, clergy, expectations, or your own wounded inner voices can masquerade as the call of God. They can make vocation a measuring stick, a lever, a cage. So yeah, vocation has light and shadow, right? Like everything we talk about in this show. It can free you or it can crush you, depending on whether it's received as gift or used as a scoreboard. And here is the turn the Catholic tradition makes with quiet insistence. Vocation is not first about getting the right answer. It's about becoming the kind of person who can answer at all. Vocation rests on 3 claims, simple as stones. First, you are created, not self-made. Your life is not a solo project. You have received your life. So second, you are addressable. You can hear truth. You can be spoken to. You are not merely a bundle of impulses and preferences. You can be called by love, and you can answer love. And third, you are someone. Love is not an accessory. It is what you are built for. To be human is to be ordered toward communion with God and neighbor. Once you accept those 3 claims, vocation becomes less like a quiz and more like a relationship. Less like a riddle and more like a conversation. Less like a treasure hunt and more like learning the sound of a voice over time in the middle of dishes and deadlines and disagreements and the occasional moment when the light falls through the window and you suddenly remember you're alive. The tradition has been blessed with guides who don't shout about it. Garrigou-Lagrange, isn't that a great name? Helps you understand discernment through prudence and the will. Prudence is not timidity, and it's not endless analysis. Prudence is the steady wisdom that chooses the good that is actually possible, here and now, under grace. You don't need perfect certainty to be faithful. You need honesty, courage, and the willingness to choose a real good, not an imaginary perfect one. God can steer a moving ship better than a parked one. Adrienne von Speyr insists on receptivity, this idea of surrender, not passivity, but radical availability. A lot of us treat life like a negotiation. We will obey God, yes, but first we would like the terms in writing and so on and so forth. She teaches consent, the kind that says yes before you know every single chapter. Mouroux reminds you that you become yourself through address and answer. You're not meant to solve yourself alone. The call comes through prayer, yeah, but also through the needs of others, the demands of love, the responsibilities already in your hands, your kids, your relationships. Vocation is not a private puzzle. It's a relational event that generates interior depth. Luigi Giussani offers a word that feels like fresh air. Here it is. Correspondence. The call of God resonates with the deepest desires placed in us. Not every desire, because some desires are cravings dressed up as truth, but true desires, the ones that persist, the ones that ache toward goodness and beauty and meaning. Those desires are clues. Vocation is where reality and the heart meet. The great Viktor Frankl, not a Catholic theologian, but an honest ally at the door, he insists that meaning addresses you. Life asks something of you, especially in suffering. People who cannot yet imagine God calling, Frankl offers a bridge, beginning by listening for meaning's demand. Often in time, meaning becomes personal. The call gains a face. Caryll Houselander gives a startling key: Christ in us. Your life becomes intelligible when you ask what unique facet of Christ is meant to be revealed through your temperament, limitations, wounds, and gifts. This corrects the fantasy that vocation is found only in ideal conditions. That's not real for her. She says vocation is often discovered in the very place you wanted to escape. Isn't that a great line? And Madeleine Delbrêl is wonderfully allergic to spiritual theatrics. She insists holiness can be ordinary, sturdy, neighborly. Vocation is learned by showing up, loving the actual person in front of you, letting ordinary time become porous to grace. God is here. The neighbor is here. The work is here, now, in real time, the people in front of you. So what do you do with all this? Besides nod wisely and then go back to your inbox. Try a small examen of vocation. Not a trap, a way of listening. Where am I treating vocation as performance instead of a response? What voice do I obey most? Fear, appetite, approval, resentment, or Christ? What good is already mine to do right in front of me? If I stop waiting for a more dramatic call, what can I do right now in front of me? What would being faithful in small things look like this week? One honest conversation, one act of patience, one apology, one unglamorous duty done with love. If God's will is love, where is love asking me to become more concrete? Then don't sprint. Sit. Let the questions settle. Vocation is often heard less like a shout and more like a steady pull toward goodness, repeated over time until it becomes, almost without you noticing, a kind of home. Lord, you've called us before we knew how to call ourselves. Teach us to hear your voice without panic and to answer without delay. Give us courage for the good we can do today and humility to receive tomorrow as a gift. Make our lives less about proving and more about loving. And when we forget, call us again, not with pressure, but with mercy that has direction. Amen. Thank you for spending time with me. If this conversation was helpful or calming or simply gave you a moment to breathe, you can help others find it by rating and reviewing the show wherever you listen. Those small gestures travel farther than we realize. You can find more episodes, essays, and reflections at dougtooke.com, or reach out there if you'd like to connect, collaborate, or continue the conversation in some future way. Quiet work often grows best in community. Pray for me, and I will pray for you. Until next time.